Okay, welcome everyone to our information session for Human Resources Management Programs here at Cal State Dominguez Hills. We're going to make you all toros if you sign up. So welcome. We will spend the next hour taking a look at all of the programs that we offer here for the Human Resources Program. Please feel free to ask any questions. They are recording us, and I know I look like I'm about ready to break into Blue River on a karaoke night, but we'll manage one way or the other here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on our programs. You can look up here in the corner. This is the staff that we have built now that supports all of our various programs that we're going to be talking about here tonight. And looking up there, it's a little scary. I know we all look very young, but there's well over 100 years. I'm not going to tell you how many years over 100 of experience represented by just those 4 people up there. Of human resources management experience, leadership experience. We have Jen, we have myself, I'm Jim Vigneault, and we have Jeannie Talbot and Lynn Escalade over on the farm right to you. And that's all of the alphabet soup letters that come after all of our names that essentially qualify us for those 100+ years. But what we're going to do here tonight, you will be meeting with one of these individuals in the classes that we'll be talking about here, depending upon the class that you sign up for. We're going to take a look a little bit at the program, and we're going to do a little bit of a dive into each of the programs so that you can identify which one's going to be best for you in taking a look at either building on your current HR career, or if you're looking at going into HR, which are the classes that are going to be best for you to be able to prepare yourself for moving into human resources management as a career. So let's go ahead and take a look at these here now. The programs that we have is Human Resources Management. This is our kind of hub core base class. This is the foundational class for all that we do here on the certificate programs at Dominguez Hills. Now we have a second course. The second one is Human Resources Business Partner. This one is targeted a little bit more for the person who has some HR in their background. They have either the knowledge or some experience in human resources, because this business partner course goes into the strategic aspect of human resources management. How do you connect with leadership within an organization or an enterprise, and how do you make that work? It is, as opposed to the Human Resources Management Program, which gives you all of that foundational knowledge on communications, on problem solving, on all of the core principles of human resources, talent acquisition, comp and benefits, employee relations, policies and procedures, the law, all of those things, okay? Now, the third one up here is the SHRM Certification Prep course. This is a course that is specifically targeted at preparing you to go ahead and take the CP or SCP exams through the Society for Human Resources Management, or SHRM. And this is to prep you for that 500 or 300 question test. And we'll talk a little bit about the success rate that we have here. We take an approach that really has resulted in very high pass rates compared to the national averages. The fourth one, which says Management Supervision, and it's not a pure human resources course. This is for managers who are leading teams of people. But it's really, if I were to put a subtitle under it, it's kind of HR for managers rather than HR for HR professionals, okay? Because the hardest thing for a manager to do, the easy part comes with what they do. If you have a quality manager, they know quality. If it's an engineering manager, they know engineering, but they don't know how to lead their teams. And so the approach for our management supervision course is, how do you learn to effectively lead your team as a manager. Okay, so in a nutshell, those are the courses and the certificates that we provide. Now, we're going to jump into just a little bit of history. I'm going to take you back to 1996. A couple of you probably were born then, but we'll take you back there. 1996, I received a phone call from the Director of Extension Education that somebody had provided my name and number to her. And she said, I understand that you might be able to build a human resources certificate course for the university. I said, yeah, I'd be interested, but I have certain things that I really want to be able to do in order to be able to make that happen. And she says, well, let's have lunch. And her name was Tia, and she and I met for lunch, and I told her right off the bat before the salad came, or anything like that the program, that if she wanted me to build the program, it was going to be something different than what was offered or being offered at the time at Cal State Long Beach, which was the only HR certificate program in the entire system at the time. And it was still very academic. It was, the professors were doing it, you had textbooks, you kind of learned the theory and the principles, and you took a test and they gave you a grade. Okay. My approach was, I said, no, I want anybody who signs up for this course to walk away with something real in their hands, something that they could use even the next morning after class, that they can go back to work and use what they learned that evening. Actually take something out of the classroom and apply it to the real world. And she said that's exactly what was her vision, and so that's what started the program. So it has been around now it's 1996, 24 years. And I was instructor number 1. I was only, 19 at the time. Okay. Okay, so you know where most of the 100 years comes from, that I was talking about earlier? Okay. We were taking a look at this, and as we looked at it, we said, okay, audience, we're going to match what our audience needs. These are practitioners or somebody wanting to move into HR and they want to have real world stuff. We wanted it to be practical. Okay? Again, take what we do in the classroom, be able to apply it to the real world, not just be able to talk fancy talk, about the theories of organizational development. Okay, we didn't want to do that. We wanted to say, what can you do to develop the organization? What can you do to develop the employees in it? What actions can you actually take? Okay, we also wanted high value on the educational return on investment, on the ROI. When you walk into this, at the time in 1996, when we first started, you would walk away with actual templates of a compensation plan document, rate ranges, an employee handbook, policies and procedures, job description templates, things that if you hired a consultant to do, you would spend $10,000 to $15,000 to be able to have those implemented and have somebody come in and do that for you as a consultant. Instead, you walk away with the ability to do those things. So for the price of admission, essentially, you were able to walk away with $10,000, $15,000 worth of real, usable material. You didn't bring the consultant in; you can do it. And so that was our high value ROI. Now it's probably about $25,000 to $30,000, about double that now. But that's still our approach. Is that you will know how to build a rate range. You'll know how to build a compensation plan and pay administration document. You'll know how to put together a job description that actually works and is compliant, does what you need it to do, to put together the forms, something as simple as an employment application, or something as complex as that pay administration plan with full rate ranges and assignment of grades and jobs to positions. Okay, that's what the program offers. It's current. Those 4 Yahoos that I showed you earlier, we meet a couple of times a year to take a look at what do we need to change, what do we need to add, what do we need to take out based upon what has happened in the last 12 months or the last 6 months from a legal standpoint, from a practice standpoint as well. So we're always going to be current. We don't follow fads, but we take a look at what is really being applied in the HR field that is going to anchor itself and actually be a part of what we do and what we need to know. We're compliant. We have an advisory board. We have an attorney on board who reviews all of our materials and takes a look at making sure that what we bring in is also legally compliant. And we're consistent. That team, we meet regularly, both electronically and in person, to take a look at making sure that whether you are in one of my classes or Linda's class or Jen's class or Jeannie's, it doesn't really matter the instructor so much because the material is going to be fairly consistent. Our styles are a little bit different, but the material itself, you're going to walk away with the same thing. And sometimes people will take a class and then they have to interrupt it, and so that you might get 3 of the classes out of the certificate course this semester, but then you have to come back in the summer to take the 4th in order to complete the certificate. You might end up with a different instructor. It's okay. Okay, because you're going to still have that consistency. Now, we are CEU based, which is continuing education units. Okay, you still develop a transcript. It's under CEUs. They're not quite the same as your academic units that you would earn on the other side of the parking lot here, but you earn these continuing education units, and there's a transcript with the university for those units. And because they're CEUs, they are based in your attendance. This is not a course like on the academic side where you can miss a few of them as long as you take the test and you pass it, you're cool. Okay, no, you gotta come. Okay, you gotta be there. That's part of the requirements. All right. If you are already HR certified, if you hold your SPHR or PHR or your CP or SCP, all of the CEUs go towards your recertification. Anybody here in that situation at all? Okay. So then get yourself certified and you come back. Anyway, so the units are all applicable to earning your recertification. So the program is a very, very strong one, and it's a recognized one. All right. Any questions so far at all? All right. Well, let's take a look at some of the at the first program. The Certificate for Human Resources Management, and this is our core foundational program, right, is made up of, I'll get it through, is made up of 4 classes. There are 4 sessions per class, right? So the first class is establishing HR systems, and you'll start to see a logic really kind of go through all of this as we progress through the various programs. The first program, establishing HR systems, we take a look at the basic systems that are established for human resources management. We take a look at the evolution and the role of HR. Okay? Where have we come in the last 100 years from being, we're going to send you to personnel to we are a human resources business partner. Okay? And the evolution of all of that, and how have we moved from that basic clerical, keep the file on the people, to being a real strategist in helping to run a business, to making an enterprise work and to be successful. Okay, so we take a look at the evolution of the role of HR. Right, a little bit of history lessons and things like that. But then we jump right into it. Then we get into talent acquisition principles. Talent acquisition principles is one of those big foundational areas of human resources management. Getting good, qualified people into work for the company that you work for. Finding the best sourcing the best candidates, selecting the best candidate, and then developing the offer and bringing them on board and onboarding those best candidates or that best candidate out of the group. We take you through the entire process, and we also, out of that, again, you're going to start receiving some of those templates, right? A good application. I guarantee you that at least half of you in your organizations and the companies that you're working for now, your application is probably out of compliance. It's illegal, technically. Okay. We'll give you a good one. But then it goes beyond just having somebody fill out an application and go through an onboarding process. It is actually, how do you make those selections? How do you identify those people? We take a look at talent acquisition. You'll be demonstrating that as well. You'll be practicing it. Okay. We don't have written tests. We don't have textbooks. We have materials that you pick up on the Blackboard system, but you actually have to show us that you can do this. Okay. So you're going to get demonstrations as part of that. And then we get into labor and employee relations systems. This goes to managing employees in the workplace, employee engagement, corrective action, policies and procedures. All of those things come into play in being able to deal with employees in the workplace. That's what we're going to be taking a look at there. That completes the first class, those 4 sessions. The second class goes to total rewards. Total rewards, we take a look, is really the fancy word for compensation and benefits. Comp and benefits, all right? We take a look at the foundations of it. What part and what role does benefits play in total compensation? How do you build how do you build pay systems? We move from there into building those pay systems. We take a look at job descriptions. And then we take a look at putting it all together and building those rate ranges for those job descriptions that you've developed. You'll be writing job descriptions, mini ones, but you'll be writing job descriptions. You'll be showing that you can do the calculations. When I was in my master's program at Chapman, I spent 3 weeks learning all of the complex calculations for establishing pay rate ranges. Moving from one rate range to the next to the next. We're going to teach you how to do it in 20 minutes. Same thing. You'll end up in the same place with a couple of little magic numbers. And it'll take you to that theoretical next level from rate range 1 to rate range 2 to rate range 3. You'll be able to move through it and find those theoretical rate ranges and make those determinations. It took me 3 weeks at a master's program to learn. We'll give it to you in 20 minutes. Job descriptions, how do you write a really good job description? It is compliant. It covers all of the bases that need to be covered. Why do you want to have job descriptions? What is necessary in them? And you actually do some practicing on writing some job descriptions. So we get into the total rewards aspect of it. We get into the pay administration aspect of it. What you'll also walk away with are those pay administration policies so that you have a template for an entire compensation plan document. I just did one for my company, ran about 350 pages. It included the job descriptions. The plan itself runs about 25, 30 pages. The rest is all job descriptions. You could put together that 300-page document without a problem after this class. You'll have the template. You'll know how to do it for your company. Or you can hire a consultant and we'll come in and we'll do it for you for about $7,500. Up to you. All right. Third class in HR management systems, labor and employment law. All right. This is the 800-pound gorilla in the whole course program here. All right. Everything that has taken us out of being personnel into becoming human resources falls into this area because of labor and employment laws that have been passed over, have been coming on board for the last 100 years. That you remember from the very first class that we had, okay, 8 weeks prior. So we take a look at the laws. Then we take a look at management systems, investigations, corrective action, discipline. How do you terminate without walking into a minefield of wrongful terminations? How do you manage the process? We take a look at leaves management, and then our fourth area is like 2.5 hours with a labor attorney, free labor attorney, our labor attorney, okay, that's on our advisory board. He's not like any other attorney that I've ever run into. It is the fastest 2.5 hours you will ever sit through. And it's very hard to follow our labor attorney. But he will ask for your questions 2 weeks before he shows up. And he'll show up with your question and the answers thrown up on the screen. And he will answer those questions. But there'll be a lot of learning that goes along with it. Okay? But he is very entertaining. He tells it like it is. He doesn't speak illegally. He's like a regular guy. He's like another attorney in the world. He used to tell people, "I'm not an attorney, I'm a plumber," okay? Because he didn't want to be known as one of those guys, buttoned up, staid old, attorneys that just talk like this, and we're going to talk in legalese only, and put you to sleep in about 5 or 10 minutes. Like I said, it's the fastest night you'll have in the entire program. So that course is really foundational for everything that we do in human resources management. We become paralegals out there because the laws change so quickly. Every January 1, all of us HR people, we go attend the seminars by the boarding attorneys to tell us, what's new in the law. And that gets incorporated into our program. Then we kind of, in our fourth program, to wrap it all up, we move back a little bit and we step into communication dynamics, because we believe very strongly, all of us that have been in human resources, that we have found that actually communications, whether they're effective or they're miscommunications, really give us job security, particularly the miscommunications. People not communicating effectively or properly creates conflict in the workplace. It creates loss of production. It deteriorates morale. It negatively impacts the culture. Or the opposite, it can enhance the culture. It can solve problems. It can do wonderful things if it's done properly. But as a change agent within the enterprise, human resources group is really very unique and is uniquely positioned. We play in everybody else's backyard. We play in finance, we play in accounting, we play in engineering, we play in quality, we play in operations. Okay? We play in marketing and sales. We affect everyone in the entire organization. And we can influence everyone in the entire organization and thereby influence the organization. We are uniquely qualified. Okay? So we take a look at the foundations of communication. We kind of do communication 101, then we do communication 401. Okay? Advanced degree stuff in the second one, persuasive communication. Somebody still says no to you, how do you change that no to a yes? We talk about how you can do that. And there's a communication model to be able to do that. And then we take a look at the significance of it. We wrap up with that. How really strong communication is as it integrates itself through everything that we do. Okay? We look at the Hawthorne effect, the Pygmalion effect, and we take a look at group dynamics and group communications. Okay? And we do it in a fun way. All right. That is our foundational program, Human Resources Management Certificate. Now, we have a second certificate, the Human Resources Business Partner. This one is about, we totally revamped what we called our advanced certificate. And we totally revamped it. We we kept the things that really was working well for us in the advanced course, and threw out about 60% of it that we felt we could do better or something different with. And so we built the HR Business Partner Program. And as we take a look at the items in here, you'll see that it's really for the person who has either, if you haven't worked in HR at all, okay, you really should take the HR management course first before taking this one. If you have some time in human resources, even at an entry level, if you have at least a good basic working knowledge of human resources management, then you can jump into the Human Resources Business Partner course, okay? It's 3 classes. The first class is 6 weeks, and then the remaining 2 classes are each 4 weeks long, or 4 sessions. The first one, and it goes again to that logic, kind of building a foundation and then putting the house on top of that foundation. So how do you build the partnerships in being a human resources business partner? We take a look at learning the business. We've been preaching this from the very beginning. We were talking about learning the business 20 years ago in this program. We were way advanced, and we should have labeled it, you know, we could have written the book and retired. I'd be sitting on a beach in Tahiti. You know what I say. But how do you learn the business? How do you go about doing it? Then how do you build a talent pipeline? Right? It isn't just mere talent acquisition. It isn't the logistics of it. It's now how do you build that sourcing pipeline? How do you really now influence the ability to pull in those candidates that we were talking about earlier? We take a look at employee onboarding and engagement. We do a deep dive on that. Taking a look at earning the C-suite trust, your CEO, your COO, your CFO. How do you connect with those people up on the 12th floor? Okay, in the corner office with all the windows you hardly ever see. Okay, how do you connect with them? We take a look at human resources metrics and analytics. We go back to math class again. And labor costing and budgeting. Some fairly advanced stuff, but you need to know, how do you calculate a labor variance? Do you know what a labor variance is? Right? We'll give you that. That will be part of all of it. So those are the six sessions that comprise the building of the partnership. Once you build the partnership, then you have to develop it. You have to kind of put some meat on the bones, essentially. So now we start taking a look at, now that you're connected with the people who are operating the business, how do you now enhance that? How do you build on that? So training and development. This is organizational development. This is employee and management development. Okay, OD is a very big area for human resources management beyond just doing the stuff of human resources. Coaching, counseling, conflict resolution, an even deeper dive on just corrective action. Before we talk about corrective action, that's writing a good compliant warning notice. Has all the elements that you need. But here's how you build a coaching, counseling, and conflict resolution approach. Okay? We take a look at succession planning and performance management. Performance reviews, performance appraisals. How do you build the system? How do you integrate it into your pay administration system? Do you separate it or do you connect them? It's a strategic decision that you have to make. So we take a look at that. Then we go into working the partnership. You're going to get project management 101 out of this course. They have a certificate program. You can get certified as a project manager. But we're going to give you a pretty good dose of that. I remember in one of my.
Sorry about that. That's cool.
Yes, sir. The gremlins were alive. In a prior company, the COO and I put up on the wall, a big brown literature paper banner, and we started writing on it. And we had the entire marketing department that was really struggling with being able to set priorities, be able to do what they needed to do, hit their timelines, set their deadlines, and to do so in a way that was effective, was complete. They didn't know how to project manage multiple projects. So all we did was we did Project Management 101 up on the board. And he and I, the COO and I, put this all together. And we essentially taught this class to the marketing and sales department of the company Santa Fe Springs that I was working for at the time. And sure enough, all of a sudden, they started hitting their deadlines. They started aligning the resources. They started being able to manage their projects in a way that they never had before. So we're going to give you those kinds of tools in this program. Change management. Okay? Change is scary for a lot of people. We're going to help you be able to lead effective change within the organization and have, the tools to do it. Remember, in human resources, you'll hear this again if you're in any of my classes, you're the junkyard dogs of the commercial, of the corporate world. You're junkyard dogs. Think about it. Anything that anybody can't do, doesn't want to do, isn't willing to do, who gets it? Yeah, HR, exactly. Okay, so we get the junk, and a lot of that junk goes to change. Nobody wants to be the ones leading change. Okay, so we give it to the organization where nobody likes you. Who's that?
HR.
That's right. It's HR. Okay, you're overworked, underpaid, and underappreciated. Okay. If you want that as an employer, it's true. Overworked, underpaid, and underappreciated. No one's knowing your friends or somebody wants something from you. Information. They want you to say yes when everybody else said no. They went to dad, and dad said no, so they're coming to you, Mom. Can I get a yes out of you? Okay. So, the rewards, they're intrinsic. Nobody's going to be hanging on that. Nobody's going to be going, woo, when you walk in the room. Okay? Instead, they go, shh, HR's here, quiet. Can't say anything more. All right? So, anyone who's in human resources and has been in it for 5 years or more and loves it, we're all a little weird. Okay? Because we thrive on that kind of environment. But those who have been in it for a while, you also know that every now and then you save a career. You can even save a life as an HR person in your organization. It can happen, and it does happen. All right, so change management. Okay, we get into there. You're going to be the leaders of change. Ethics and human resources. We're not going to be talking about corporate ethics, which gets a lot of press. We're going to be talking about the time that you are faced with an ethical dilemma. Okay? You've got somebody who's potential for violence, but your policy says you don't tell the person or the organization that's calling to say, do we want to hire your ex-employee? Okay? Who's a little strange, dresses in camouflage, reads mercenary magazines. Okay? Talks about his new toy, which is a pearl-handled Chrome 45. Goes out and plays scans every weekend out in the desert. Talks a little strange on casual Fridays. Dresses a little strange on casual Fridays. They really never go to another organization. Do you tell them? Or do you not? You break your own rule. We'll have a few more little spicy details to that story, but think about it. We'll run through some case studies in ethics. It's one of my favorite classes. I absolutely love the ethics in HR class. We're going to management relations. Okay. Labor management regulations, we talk a little bit about unions, and we get into that aspect of it. Anybody work in a union environment or a mixed union environment? Okay. There's some other healthcare, education, you get into some construction. Union representation is running about 11% overall, and you see it in the public sector pretty strongly and in certain industries. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you don't need to worry about the National Labor Relations Act, because each and every one of you is impacted by the National Labor Relations Act, even though you don't have a union. Those decisions and that law impacts all employers. So we're going to be taking a look at some of those impacts. A lot of it goes to just what people can talk about. And with social media operating now, okay, there's a lot of speech issues. They complain about stuff at your company. Do you have a right to discipline them or not? Depends on what they say and how it's said. And it comes through the National Labor Relations Act, which manages union environments, but still is applied to all of you. Okay? So you need to know these things. You need to be aware of these things, and we'll get into those. All right. Okay, so that's our HR Business Partner Certificate. Third course, and we're going to go through this fairly quickly. Jeannie Talbot, who teaches this course, is just phenomenal. She's absolutely phenomenal. When we first brought her on board, I was the one who was teaching it, and then Jeannie kind of took it over, and she just has taken what I was doing and has just built it even bigger. The CP, SHRM, SCP, and CP certificates this is a course that preps you for that. It's a 12-week course, and it goes to specifically how do you pass the test and earn that certificate. So you can put the alphabet letters after your name. Okay? Put all those fancy letters on there. But I'm telling you, you get a SHRM CP. It's like having your bachelor's degree. If you're not your bachelor's, you have the CP, you're still in contention for that job as somebody with a degree. You have the SCP, the senior, it's like having your master's. There's almost an equivalency in the industry to those. But having that certification says that you know HR. You know it. You know how it's applied. You know how to use it. It isn't just the knowledge. It's the application of that knowledge. Okay? CSUDH results are pretty phenomenal. We're running about 10 to 12% above the national average for pass rates. The pass rates come in at around 50, mid-50s. We're in the mid-high 60s on our pass rates. Because of the approach that we take, the prior two courses are learning courses. This is a course to teach you how to take the learning that you already have, the knowledge you already have, and apply it, and how to take and pass the test with that knowledge, because they try to trick you. And how do you see through the tricks? You see behind the curtain, how the magician does his or her thing. Okay? And that's why our results come in significantly higher than the national average. Okay? It's a tough test. It's very, very difficult. But our approach has been just wonderfully successful. Those that don't pass it after taking our course are those that really don't apply themselves. Or they're a little ahead of themselves from a knowledge-based proposition. But those that apply themselves, those that really study, they pass with our approach. Okay, so let's take a last look at our fourth class, which is Management and Supervision. This this is an 8-week course. So if you're a manager or a supervisor and you want to click on a team management type of approach, how do I manage the people in my team? This is the course that you would want to take a look at. Or if you know somebody that could use this course, and believe me, if you know the managers, most of them can use the course. Okay? It's amazing. Well, you've been around here long enough, and you're a senior person, we're going to make you a manager. Okay, now you got to lead the team. And we get the general highlights. Look, I gotta lead people. And I really have to be able to motivate somebody. I have to discipline them. I have to assign them. Okay? And they shy away. They just become directive. They're not managing. This course teaches managers how to truly manage. Okay? So we take a look at roles and functions. Again, it's not telling people how to be an engineering manager. We're not telling people how to be an accounting manager. We're telling them what it is to be a manager, period. When we get into the legal aspects of management, somebody was promoted to manager, all of a sudden, their legal exposure goes way up. They can put themselves in jail, they can put their boss in jail, essentially, if they don't know what they're doing from a legal compliance standpoint. Okay, so we get into the legal aspects of management. We get into effective selective interviewing. We cover that in talent acquisition for us from an HR standpoint, but the hiring manager needs to know what they're doing as well. They're in the interview room. They're interviewing people, often without you there. You got to make sure they know what the heck they're doing. And then creating risk or liability on behalf of the organization. So we cover that. Then we move into change management. Well, something that we talk about in our advanced course, or the business partner course. But we take a look at it from a management perspective. How do you affect change in your organization, in your department? How do you make something like that happen? Performance management, performance feedback. Okay, how well are people doing or not doing becomes an issue of communication for that manager. Are they doing it correctly? Are they catching people doing something right rather than doing something wrong? How many managers have caught you doing something right? Not very often, is it? Okay. They're good at catching you doing something wrong, but they're not really good at catching you doing something right. Okay. That's poor management. A good manager catches people doing something right as much as they do doing something wrong. So we take a look at that performance feedback as a continuous kind of operation. It isn't just the annual performance review at year end. Okay. Then we take a look at communication dynamics, the basics, and influencing. Very similar to what we do in the HR communications portion of the HR certificate, but with a little bit of a twist, a little bit of a change. But it really goes to the manager who's there in the trenches, who's there in the floor. Your line managers are the most important people in the organization. Everybody's important, but they're more important than the C-suite. They fill a particular purpose, they fill a particular role, but those line managers are making it happen. 12th floor. I just use 12th floor because it just kind of recurs to me. But that's the CFOs and the CEOs and the COOs up there on the 12th floor. Okay, they set the vision, they set the direction. But what makes it happen? Managers and the teams on the first floor. They're the ones making it happen. So are those managers managing those teams, leading those teams? Are they even moving from being, can we get them to just be a good manager? And then once they do it, we can make them a good leader. one goes to communication and how well they communicate. Okay. So those are our programs. Can I give you a breakdown of what they contain, what you would be able to pull out of them, and what you're looking to be able to accomplish from an education standpoint, from a learning standpoint, which one's going to be best for you. Now, if you take a look at some of the materials that were provided to you when you walked in, there's a schedule there. We have a pretty good diverse schedule. If you really take a look at it, the Human Resources Management Program is being offered starting in January on Monday nights, and the Business Partner Program is being offered on Tuesday nights. For those of you who would like to accelerate it a little bit more, I'm going to give up a Saturday. We have a Saturday schedule. Now, the Monday and Tuesday nights, and is it Wednesday for the certificate program for Genies? Okay, and Wednesday night is the certificate program, or the certification program. So the HR management is on Monday, business partners on Tuesday nights. That's 6:30 to 9:30, once a week on either of those nights. So it's going to take you about 12 weeks to get through it. No, actually about 15 weeks to get through those programs. The Saturday program is an all-day program where we put 2 classes on one day. Those are held off campus in Redondo Beach, okay, at the Bay Cities Health Center, or Beach Cities Health Center, I should say. And the HR management program kicks off, I think, first Saturday in February, and then the HR business program kicks off, I think, in April on Saturday. But we have 2 classes a day, so instead of completing, say, the establishing HR systems for the Human Resources Management Program, you finish it in 4 weeks. On Saturday, you finish it in 2. But it's a Saturday. It's a full Saturday. You start at 9, you break for lunch, you have to come back. And we break again that afternoon. But you finish up in about 7 weeks, 7.5 weeks, other than 15 weeks. I'm the Saturday guy. I'm the Saturday guy we're going to be. I'm also Tuesday night for the business partner. Linda will be doing Monday night for the HRX evening. Jean will be doing Wednesday, and I think the management supervision is when? It might also be on Tuesday or Wednesday. Or Thursday? Is it Thursday? That's going to be Jen. Okay. So, take a look at the schedule. What's going to work for you? So, look at the class. If it's HR management, you've got Monday coming up here at the end of this month in a couple of weeks. If it's business partner, it's end of the month in a couple of weeks. If it's evening classes, if it's Saturday classes, that's kicking off mid-February. Okay. And we're going to be running one of these info sessions at Beach Cities in Redondo Beach. But that's where it's held. And like I said, it's accelerated, but it's the same materials. It's just all day Saturday. It's okay. We have a good time. We have a good time. All right. So, so there's a lot of choices that you can take a look at. Let me be able to do that. Our course materials are posted on Blackboard. We don't have any textbooks that you have to buy. I remember, going through tuition shock, and then, buying textbooks was like salt in the wound. You get a paperback book and it costs you $350. Paperback book, that But all this stuff is on, it's posted on Blackboard. You can download it, print it out. Yeah, that's what we recommend. All of the presentation materials and the handouts that go with the presentation materials are all there for you. Okay. Login credentials for Blackboard is given to you upon registration. So, give yourself a chance to register. Don't register at the last minute because then you won't have access. It takes a couple of days for access to kind of come into play after you register. They got to get it all into the system and everything. Okay. Now, for the SHRM prep course, for the SHRM certification prep, test prep, there's online access and textbooks will be issued on the first week. That does have textbooks, but that comes with the price of admission. You don't have to buy them extra. It's all included. Okay. All right. Again, in summary, our certificate programs, we bring the real world into the classroom so that you can take it right back out into the real world. It's real stuff. All of our instructors, we're all practitioners. We're all leaders in human resources. We've been doing it for a long time. We've seen it all. We've done it all. Or most of it. Okay? And there are some more stories I will not share. My students always get them out of me anyway. You're going to have a very, very high educational ROI, return on your investment. I was looking at because I spend weekends, I have family with medical issues where I'm down in San Diego now every weekend. And I drive right, through Vista and San Marcos and past Cal State San Marcos. I thought, well, let me see what they do for HR. Their HR program is a little bit different than ours. It's a little more academic, and it's about 50% more expensive. Yeah, they pay about $500 and some odd dollars per course. Howie. But I'll bet you get more out of our program than you do at any other program, whether it's Fullerton, Long Beach, San Marcos, or wherever. Okay. So we're compliant, current, and consistent. It's a program that we are very proud of. It's a program that is award-winning. A couple of years ago, we were recognized for people who are in transition, who are out of jobs. They come through the one-stop centers, and we took around 87% found placement after going through our program. You got that 3 years in a row? Damn, that's good. Yeah. So, okay, registration. There's all the information for registration that you would need. Contact registration office, the number is out there, option 1. There's a registration form that you received this evening. I'll get you in there. There's going to be doing for registration, so make sure you put stuff over there. And again, don't wait until the last minute. So that you get your materials, you get registered on the Blackboard. They need about, really about 3 days. And so, like any large system, that's the ideal. It might take 4, it might take 5. So register before the course. So start thinking about it now if you haven't done it already. Okay. You must be enrolled by the first class meeting. It's getting tougher and tougher to make exceptions because we just can't and shouldn't be doing that. Okay. So let's just kind of make it all happen, get it in there, and just kind of go, okay, I get to start in 2 weeks. I get to start next week. Okay. Remember, courses fill up quickly. We have had times when I think we have 24 seats in each of these classrooms here. If you're number 25, you're SOL. I'm sorry, but it's going to be, you're going to have to wait. Or think about going to Saturday, or think about going to Tuesday if you're trying to get into the Saturday class. Question?
Do you guys offer these programs again later on?
The question is, do we offer these programs later on in the year? Yes, we do. This is our spring semester coming up, our spring term. We have it in the summertime, and we do it again in the fall. Okay. Usually I get maybe, if I'm lucky, I get 1 week off between terms, and then I get to, go there right around mid-December to the end of January. Okay. And now I'm like, okay, no, I can't wait to start. Can't wait to start again. It's like, I'm ready to go. It's been 8 weeks. It's like, let's get the classes going. Okay. So, and then I'll be ready to, by mid-December, I go, okay, I'm ready for the break. But yes, to answer your question, we do 3 rounds a year per calendar year. So if you, like I said, if you miss a class or if you can't make it for whatever reason, you can come in midterm and then finish up in summertime or even in fall. But you don't get the certificate until you complete it all. So you got to get it all in. All right. Classes can and do and will fill up quickly. Okay. And because it is a program that really, my old attorney is the president of the University of Cal State Fullerton, Fran Burgee. He's my old, he used to be my labor attorney. And it rivals his. I think ours is better. Anyway, so make sure you reserve your spot. All right. That was a good question. Any other questions that we can answer for you? Because we're kind of coming down to our last kind of moment, but we'll take a question or two. Yes, ma'am.
The TA side, and then I want to take the SHRM exam. And I'm wondering if it's a benefit to do the business partner program leading into the SHRM or just do the SHRM.
The question is, would it be better to just kind of jump into the SHRM certification course or take the business partner course before taking the SHRM certification course? What we have found is that the business partner course parallels a lot of what's talked about in the certification prep course. And so, if you have that kind of background, I think it would be very good if you're on talent acquisition side, but you don't have a lot of depth on the other side. The business partner course might be a very good course to give you that strategic overview, which is a big part of the exam. And then kind of, what I'm talking about, I start doing deep dives on the exam prep. Okay, so if I were looking at it, I would say that would probably be a really good path to follow. And we don't offer the prep class in summer, but they would start it up again in September for the December test. Okay, good question. Any others? Yes, ma'am.
As far as payments goes, do you have like a program where you funded through like a
Okay, the question was for covering the cost of the courses, is there a program that we went through? Well, right behind you guys are going to have me talk to somebody in the back who can give us a one-on-one on that, which will work out really well for you. If you have a question, we'll get to you. There's a lot of study for the SHRM test prep. Okay, if you're going to be taking that one, you're probably going to be taking a look at twice as much time of self or group study outside of the classroom. For the other courses, there's not really any kind of homework or study. We're really focused on getting to the meat and to the core of the information and then practicing it in the classroom as much as possible. So not a whole lot there.
I come from a background in healthcare involved, and my interest would be to cover some of the issues that are prevalent in healthcare organizations, like the nursing, staffing issues, physician credentialing, that covered it all.
Okay.
Kind of use that case study or project, add that to your core curriculum and all.
Okay, the question is, the individual works in the healthcare, is it acute care?
Yes.
Okay, specifically acute care, so you're talking hospital, nursing, homes, those kinds of things. I come out of the insurance side and addiction recovery. But the question was, would we want to take a case study specific to that kind of an industry? Okay. One of the big things that we do in this program is that, again, I've been doing it now for since '96, so I'm in my 24th year of teaching this. Most even the class is taught the same, they're never the same, because we try to tailor it to our participants. And if you have an industry-specific area, it's still going to have relevance in each of the topic areas that we can take a look at certain case studies. In fact, we don't do a lot of set case studies. What we do is that we try to pull them from the class, and where it's applicable. We will take a look at that, and it not only helps you, but it also it doesn't exclude the rest of the class. So we modify our case study discussions to the needs of the specifics required in the class itself and to the people who are in the class. So, I don't know if there's any academicians here, but we are not the academic side. Okay, we're flexible, we're adaptable, we're HR. I work in HR, I fear nothing. Okay, so.
Jim,
Yes.
to the previous question regarding additional funding, I've put on the screen the WIOA funding program.
Okay, for additional funding, information on the screen, in case you know what's listening on the screen. But if it's something that you're interested in, you've got that up there. Pictures from zoom in. Okay, we are very well connected there. In fact, back when I was a part of industry council about 25 years ago, Department of Stocks, I was on the board for the Torrance, for the Carson Limited Torrance pick. So, kind of familiar with at least the concept behind it. Any other questions that I can answer from our live audience here? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm more on the corporate side. I'm a director of business development for my company.
Okay.
And for the past 6 years, we've been outsourcing third-party HR
Okay.
companies for our company. So I would like to take it into a step where we could have HR in-house in our company. So which course would you recommend? I mean, for someone like myself to take in order to make sure that if I'm hiring someone for that position, I'm hiring someone that.
Okay. I would go with the, for that aspect, the question is, if he's going to start taking a look at bringing human resources in-house, which is currently outsourced to a third party, what course would be good for him as a manager and leader of the organization to be able to look for somebody who is really going to be qualified for this, for being able to come in and actually run the doggone thing, and not screw it up. Okay. And that would be, I would go with the HR management course. Get that foundational knowledge and what is it that these people should at least basically know. If you know it, you can ask the questions and know whether they know it or not. Okay. The strategic planning doesn't fit your question. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Certificate in Human Resources Management. There's no, you don't put the alphabet behind it, okay? But on your resume, Certificate in Human Resources Management, Cal State University, CSUDH. Okay, yes?
In your experience, I know for sure you have to have a certain qualification to be able to take the test.
Right.
So for my instance, I do have a communications degree, but it's not an HR degree, so I don't know how strict are they about the types of degrees? It's communication, but it's mass communications. HR, I already have.
Communication and then might be a little bit outside of the realm for being able to maybe get a state certification on that, yeah.
Or 2 years ago, that's
Yeah.
my job.
So what you need to do is get the practical experience.
So get the 2 years of practical experience.
Yeah.
That would go under talent
Yeah, absolutely. Anything when your compensation, when you're a specialist in talent acquisition or employee relations or company benefits, or benefits administrator, something like that, that's fine. Or you're a generalist, kind of do a little bit of everything. All right. Sounds good. Okay. Last question? Your last question. All right. I want to thank all of you for attending tonight, and make sure that you get that early registration going. Find your course, find your class. Courses coming up.
Thank you.
Welcome.